Here are today's headlines. President Duterte promises assistance and job opportunities for Filipino workers repatriated from Kuwait. Zamboanga City declares a measles outbreak as cases increase by over 1,000%. Spare parts for the repair and maintenance of the MRT-3 start arriving this week. Iloilo City hosts a mass wedding for couples on Valentine's Day. Good day, I'm Pia Roses Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte warmly welcomed and pledged assistance to Filipino workers repatriated from Kuwait. Here's our report.
President Rodrigo Duterte welcomed around 150 overseas Filipino workers who were repatriated from Kuwait, promising assistance from the government and job opportunities. In his speech at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal, the President assured the Filipino workers that the government has enough resources to cater to their needs as they go home. Duterte said the government is willing to give land to those who are interested in agriculture, adding that the Department of Labor and Employment also has livelihood programs for returning OFWs. At the same time, Duterte said that to create more jobs locally, he is beefing up efforts to encourage foreign businesses to come to the Philippines. Meanwhile, Malacanang said the president is still weighing whether to push through with his plan to visit Kuwait. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Duterte's trip would depend on how the Kuwait government would act on the case of Filipinas who were maltreated and abused by their employers. Roque said, under the international law, every country had an obligation to protect and give justice to migrant workers. Roque also said that the Philippines was now looking for alternative countries where Filipinos who opted to leave Kuwait could find new jobs, particularly countries that recognize the rights of migrant workers, or countries like Oman, Bahrain, which have no records of abuses against Filipinos. Roque, on the other hand, clarified that Duterte's order to bring home Filipinos in Kuwait is not mandatory, though the commitment to protect them remains the same. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Abs Abando.
The remains of the Filipina domestic worker murdered in Kuwait will be arriving on Friday. This was confirmed by the Department of Foreign Affairs after Philippine Ambassador to Kuwait, Rene Villa, viewed the remains of Joanna Daniela Demafiles at the Al Saba Hospital as part of the Philippine Embassy's preparations for the repatriation. Villa said he has been assured by Kuwaiti authorities that they are doing their best to locate and arrest the Lebanese employer of Demafiles and his Syrian wife for her murder. He said that Kuwaiti authorities are shocked and angered by the murder and vowed to bring those responsible to justice. The body of the Iloilo-born OFW who started working as a household service worker in Kuwait in 2014 was found in a freezer in an abandoned apartment in Kuwait last week. Her case was among the reasons cited for the suspension of deployment of Filipinos to Kuwait. Nearly 5,000 families were reported affected by the onslaught of Tropical Storm Bashang. The National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council said the affected families are from 94 barangays in Region 7 and Caraga, and most of them are now in 102 evacuation centers. The Department of Social Welfare and Development and National Resource Operations Center indicated that relief goods and funds are being readied for the relief efforts. In other developments, 2 fishermen were rescued while one remained missing off the coast of Manjuyod town in Negros Oriental Tuesday afternoon after police reported that an unnamed motorboat capsized in the vicinity of the town. The motorboat was sailing from Bolisong, Manjuyod to Malabuyok, Cebu to deliver fish. Bashang dissipated into a low-pressure area late Wednesday afternoon. The city government of Zamboanga has issued an executive order declaring a measles outbreak in the city. Mayor Maria Isabel Climaco Salazar issued the order after the City Health Office recorded 101 cases of measles from January to February 1 this year. Dr. Dulce Amor Dagalea Miravites said that the figure was alarmingly high as compared to only 7 cases registered During the same period last year, 49% of the patients were male and 51% female from age 1 to 5 years old age group. Salazar's EO included a directive to the City Health Office to take all proactive measures, including a catch-up immunization to be held from February 19 to March 22 in the different health centers to address the measles outbreak. Blood samples of suspected cases were already sent to the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine of the Department of Health to trace the cause of the outbreak. Health authorities are confirming reports that 10 persons have died due to a diarrhea outbreak in Balabac Island town, southern Palawan. The Marine Battalion Landing Team 4 reported that 10 had already died since December 25 and that the outbreak had already affected 299 residents as of February 12. The last recorded deaths were on February 2 and February 8. Dr. Mary Ann Navarro, Chief of the Palawan Provincial Health Office, said that reports from Balabac of the outbreak have been delayed due to the poor communication signal. She said all the water resources in Balabac proper are contaminated, while 3 out of 4 water sources in Mangsi town are contaminated because of very poor sanitation. An 8-month-old baby boy was the youngest to have died due to diarrhea, and the oldest, a 63-year-old female resident. Still to come, spare parts for the repair and maintenance of the MRT-3 start arriving this week. A super consortium proposes the transformation of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport into a regional hub. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
India, may populasyon na 1.3 billion, 4,700 kilometers ang layo mula sa atin sa Pilipinas, which means it'll take you more than 6 hours to get here. Ano ang kahalagahan ng India para sa atin mga Pilipino? Alamin. This is Secretary Martin Andanao, and you're watching.
One of the major trading partners natin ng India, ang trading natin sa kanila ay mga nasa $1.5 billion a year. Sila yung malaking source natin ng mga oil products, pati pangalawa yung mga medicaments, ibig sabihin mga medisina.
Susunod na power na kailangan nating maparapit sa atin both for economic and security reasons at ang paglalaro-laro natin is India. Kaya kailangan maganda rin ang ating relationship with India.
And I said, I can guarantee you an audience with you and whoever is your protagonist in government service. I will protect you, I will make the guarantees. Just do not give in to corruption. You are not obliged to even spend 100 pesos for a thing that is legal and you go there upon our invitation. So we invite, we protect.
The Department of Transportation has announced that the spare parts needed for the repair and maintenance of the MRT trains are arriving this week. Here's our report.
The initial batch of spare parts vital in increasing the number of trains to reduce the waiting time for passengers on the MRT platforms are set to be delivered by Friday. The suppliers for the spare parts include Pink Armor Corporation for power and OCS, Linkhurst Enterprises for rolling stock, and Nika Trading for the railway tracks. With the repairs on the way, the Department of Transportation expects an improvement in the services of the MRT within the next few months. In other developments, more than 28,000 passengers avail the P2P buses deployed by the DOTR as an alternative mode of transportation to the MRT since it was launched last February 1, 2018. 389 buses made 521 trips and served over 28,000 passengers under the MRT3 bus augmentation project. The P2P buses are deployed on weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at the North Avenue station with drop-off points in Ortigas and Ayala. The DOTR also recently signed a memorandum of understanding with Canadian firm Bombardier for the procurement of the original equipment manufacturer of the signaling spare parts and signaling maintenance for MRT3. Under the MOU, the DOTR will procure an OEM signaling spare parts and 2-year signaling maintenance contract from Bombardier via direct contracting and emergency procurement. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
7 of the country's top conglomerates have banded together to transform the Ninoy Aquino International Airport into a regional hub. Here's our report.
7 major conglomerates have formed a consortium that vows to transform the Ninoy Aquino International Airport into a premier gateway and regional airport hub. The NAIA consortium submitted its unsolicited proposal to the Department of Transportation to transform NAIA and to ensure that it would have the capacity to meet the continued growth in passenger traffic from the strong economies of the Philippines and the region. Aboitiz Infra Capital, AC Infrastructure Holdings Corporation, Alliance Global Group, Asia's Emerging Dragon Corporation, Philinvest Development Corporation, JG Summit Holdings, and Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, the 7 partners that have a combined capitalization of over 2.2 trillion pesos, also signed a memorandum of agreement formalizing the consortium. Changi Airports International will provide technical support in the areas of master planning, operations optimization, and commercial development. The proposed project, estimated at 350 billion pesos, supports the government's Build program with its plan to develop NAIA by upgrading its airside, landside, and air navigation support. The proposal includes a people mover that would link all 3 terminals and connect NAIA to the existing mass transport system in Metro Manila, as well as an option for a 3rd runway which would bring potential capacity of up to 100 million passengers per year. The upgrades will elevate NAIA to the level of major regional airports such as Changi in Singapore and Suvarnabhumi in Bangkok, and will become a viable transit hub for the ASEAN region. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
The Philippine government is aiming to clinch a deal with Papua New Guinea for Filipinos to be able to grow rice there and supply the staple back here. Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol said Malacanang had allowed him to travel to Papua New Guinea soon to finalize the arrangements. If plans push through, Piñol said Filipinos would be able to grow rice in satellite farms in Papua New Guinea, initially supplying the grains there, while that the country is developing its rice industry with the excess produce shipped to the Philippines. Piñol is optimistic about the outsourcing prospect with Papua New Guinea, noting that the country of about 8 million people has a total land area of around 46 million hectares. The Philippines' initial 5-year target to develop 1 million hectares of Papua New Guinea's land for rice can produce around 8 million metric tons annually. At present, Papua New Guinea sources its rice overseas and has sought the Philippines' help in developing its rice industry. At the same time, Filipino-produced inbound rice shipments from Papua New Guinea would boost the availability of rice in the Philippines. Iloilo Province is targeting the production of 1 million metric tons of rice this year. Provincial agriculturist Idelfonso Toledo expressed confidence that with 100,000 farmers in the province and 134,000 hectares of rice land, the goal will be easily achieved since most farmers are now using hybrid rice. despite the constraints brought about by calamities such as the slight El Nino in 2015 and drought in 2016, Toledo said Iloilo was able to produce 906,000 metric tons of rice production in 2017. Toledo said it was in 2015 when they began to recommend the planting of hybrid rice to Iloilo farmers through the High-Yielding Technology Adoption Program in partnership with the Department of Agriculture. Toledo said farmers could produce 10 to 15 metric tons of rice when using hybrid technology, which yields a higher production than the 7 to 8 metric tons of rice produced using inbred rice varieties. Toledo said they have included in their budget the provision of free hybrid seeds to farmers to further encourage them to plant hybrid rice. An alleged member of the Abu Sayyaf group involved in the kidnapping and killing of plantation workers 16 years ago in Basilan province was arrested by police in Zamboanga City. The suspect is the 10th ASG member involved in the kidnapping that was arrested since January 1 this year. Chief Superintendent Billy Beltran, Police Regional Office 9 Director, identified the arrested suspect as Rocco Haman, who carries the aliases Ruko Haman, Isdad, and Hamador Hajula. Beltran said the suspect, who had a standing warrant of arrest for 8 counts of kidnapping and serious illegal detention issued by a court in Isabela City, Basilan Province, was arrested Tuesday afternoon near a restaurant on La Purisima Street, Barangay Zone 3. He said Haman was allegedly involved in the kidnapping of workers from the Golden Harvest Plantation on June 11, 2001 in Barangay Tayran, Lantawan, Basilan. Up next, the Bureau of Internal Revenue reports exceeding collection targets in the Bicol region last year. Iloilo City hosts a mass wedding for couples on Valentine's Day. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
May kabuuang 352 pamilya na nakikinabang sa mga temporary shelter sa barangay Sagunsongan, Marawi City ang nakakuha ng mga family packs mula sa opisina ng Civil Defense Autonomous Region ng Muslim Mindanao. Ang mga family packs ay naglalaman ng mga kagamitan sa kusina, sleeping gears at hygiene kit na maaaring magsilbing pangunahing pangangailangan ng mga displaced families. Inuuna ng OCD-ARMM upang makapagbigay ng kabuuang 6,000 family packs sa mga pamilya na makikita sa transitional shelter site sa biyaya ng pagbabago. Ang Regional Director ng OCD-ARMM, Raylindo Aninyon, ay tumanggap ng mga pamilyang nawalan ng tirahan na nasa mga evacuation center na makakatanggap sila ng mga family food pack kapag inilipat sila sa temporary shelter site.
Sana makatulong ito ng malaki sa inyo sa inyong panibagong simula sa inyong pamumuhay.
Si Fatima Matuan, isa sa mga benepisyaryo, ay nagpahayag ng kanyang pasasalamat na bukod sa bahay, binigyan din sila ng mga family pack.
Masyado akong masaya dahil pagbukas niya sa box na yun, halos lahat ng kailangan na doon.
Alinsunod sa utos at misyon nito, patuloy na naglalaan ng tulong ang OCD sa mga displaced na pamilya ng Marawi Siege. Upang maalala, pinangunahan ng OCD ang Post-Consider Needs Assessment ng 76 na barangay sa Marawi City kasama ang iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Para sa bayan, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue in the Bicol region reported that it exceeded its tax collection target for 2017. It also exceeded the collections for January this year. Here's our report.
The year 2017 was a fruitful one for the Bureau of Internal Revenue in Bicol as it surpassed its tax collection target. The region's revenue district offices collected a total of 10.7 billion pesos, surpassing its target of 9.1 billion pesos. For January 2018, the agency collected 1.1 billion pesos, surpassing its 784.7 million peso goal for the month. RDO number 67 covering Legazpi City topped the collection performance for the month of January with 447 million pesos, followed by RDO 65 covering Naga City, RDO 68 in Sorsogon City, and RDO 70 in Masbate City. This year's collection target for Bicol was set at 12.1 billion pesos. Mary Jane Asuncion, BIR Officer in Charge and Assistant Regional Director for Bicol, expressed optimism that more could be achieved in the coming months with the continued cooperation of taxpayers and tax agents and the collaborative efforts of revenue officials. Meanwhile, BIR Bicol is set to conduct seminars and training courses to inform the public of the importance and benefits of the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion or TRAIN law. The newly launched Salamat Sayo Tax Awareness Campaign also acknowledged the public's contribution to the economy through the taxes they pay. Asuncion said the contribution of every tax-paying individual to nation building has a ripple effect as each tax contribution goes a long way. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Marikina City, the shoe capital of the Philippines, is proposing a sister city relationship with Davao City. A letter of proposal was formally delivered by former Davao City Barangay Captain Mario Mar Masangid on behalf of Marikina City Mayor Marcelino Teodoro to the office of Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. Teodoro said their sister partnership will lead to a more profound awareness and appreciation by fostering educational, economic, cultural, and professional exchanges, best practices in local governance, community management, as well as collaborative activities between their cities. Marikina already has sisterhood ties with Alaminos in Pangasinan, Bacolod City, and Iloilo City. It also has a sisterhood with Brampton in Canada and Busan in South Korea. Davao City, on the other hand, has 10 sister cities in the Philippines and 10 sister cities in other countries, such as Xinjiang, Fujian in China, Vladivostok in Russia, and Kaosai County, Hawaii, and Tacoma, Washington in the U.S. The Gilas Pilipinas pool to the FIBA World Cup qualifiers February window is finally in full force. All 15 members of the national team pool showed up during the daily practice at the Merako Gym in Pasig on Tuesday night. 12 of the mainstays such as Andre Blash, Gabe Norwood, Junmar Fajardo, and Japeth Aguilar took part in the practice where they went up against African players led by former Ateneo player Shibus Ike. Troy Rosario, who suffered a scary fall last week in TNT's game against Phoenix, was limited to shooting drills. Kiefer Ravenna and Mac Bella also attended the training session but did not participate in the games. Gilas cadets CJ Perez, Abu Tratter, Arvin Tolentino, and Kenneth Tufin also joined the practice. The roster will be the basis of the lineup for the games against Australia and Japan on February 22 and 25. 91 couples in Iloilo City exchanged vows in a mass wedding ceremony highlighting the city's celebration of Valentine's Day. Here's our report.
91 indigent couples from Iloilo City exchanged vows, highlighting the celebration of the Heart's Day in this city of love. The activity, spearheaded by the City Population Office and City Civil Registry Office, provided the couples with free wedding in addition to the free processing of their documents, while SM Iloilo provided the venue. Iloilo City Mayor Jose Espinosa III, who officiated the wedding, underscored that the event was significant for the couples as they can now avail of rights and privileges given by the government to families. He added the city government and its people are with them as they exchange their marriage vows. They gained support from the community through their godparents who witnessed the ceremony. Espinosa said if this kind of activity continues, love will spread and reflect the image of Iloilo as the city of love and that family is a sacred in this part of the country. Chichimua Rehaba, organizer of the event, said they hope to sustain the activity to be able to reach out to more unmarried couples. She said that they came up with an idea to organize the mass wedding after discovering that there was a high number of illegitimate children in the city by unmarried couples. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country.
At least 17 people were reported killed in a mass shooting incident at a high school in Parkland, Florida. The suspect, identified as Nicholas Cruz, a former student who was expelled for disciplinary reasons, opened fire on people with a rifle as he entered the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School before 3 p.m. in the U.S. Students and faculty were evacuated from the high school during the incident. Authorities claim it is the deadliest shooting since the Sandy Hook incident in Connecticut in 2012 and the 18th school shooting in the U.S. this year. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Here's another look at today's headlines. President Duterte promises assistance and job opportunities for Filipino workers repatriated from Kuwait. Zamboanga City declares a measles outbreak as cases increase by over 1,000%. Spare parts for the repair and maintenance of the MRT-3 start arriving this week. Iloilo City hosts a mass wedding for couples on Valentine's Day. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.